I think that's it. Hello, my lovely people. Hello, my lovely Woman of Worth communities. It is a pleasure to be with you today. I hope that you are all doing well. I hope that you all had a lovely Easter weekend, one that brought you much joy, I hope, one that was maybe restful, one that was relaxing and quiet. Whatever it is that you found joy in doing, maybe reflective on what the season represented. I hope that you all had a wonderful weekend. I did. It was pretty quiet for me, and I was able to see a family member that I have not seen in a long time. So that brought me much joy, as well as being able to go to church and not having to rush to go to work or anywhere else. I was really happy about that. Really happy to be able to enjoy the Easter weekend the way I did. And I'm super grateful for the little joys, the little pleasures, the benefits that my days are loaded with, that God has, blessed me with. So it's a joy. It's a joy to be here today and to share yet another week on the Woman of Worth podcast. And I want to start today by talking about God's work. And when I say God's work, what I mean is His purpose for our lives. Yes, the great purpose that which He has called us to live here on this earth. Because we are not just here to we're just being here sake. We're to occupy until the Lord returns, and not just occupying by just taking up space or just going through the motions of life, but we are to occupy in making great use of our days, of our lives here on earth. And so in saying that, I haven't often heard of what purpose is, or why living a purposeful life is so important. And I can remember a few years ago, purpose was knocking at my door. My spiritual womb was opening, and what God had placed inside of me was there knocking and saying, I am still here, I am still alive. You need to give birth to me. And I can remember during that period of time, it's almost like there was a universal language being spoken throughout the earth or around the world, whereby almost every clip, video, or stream I came across, and when I say every, I'm not saying that I'm all over the place. There are a few persons that I believe speaks to my spirit. So therefore, I can remember hearing Bishop T.D. Jakes, for one, the church where I was attending before transferring to my now present home church. They were also talking about purpose. I believe Prophetess Juanita Bynum as well was speaking about that in a sense. And there was I believe I saw some little clips here and there whereby other persons were speaking about that. And the body of Christ was talking about uh, fulfilling purpose, as well as persons from the secular world. They too were talking about purpose. And so I realized that God must have been saying something to us as individuals in this earth realm during that period. But also during that period of time, it was such a challenge, it was such a struggle for me in trying to figure out what my purpose was. And I can remember coming across a book. I believe I shared about this book when my sister died. A sister of mine passed away a few years ago, and I remember sharing about that and a book that I came across, or two books I came across talking about purpose-driven life, of all the books that she had in that house. And during that period, I was like sitting with myself trying to figure out who I am and why am I here and all that kind of thing. And it took me a while to figure it out and to understand and to tap in and that kind of stuff. But I am so grateful and happy that because I took the time to sit with myself, to sit with God, and to pursue, what that is and who God called me or created me to be. I'm so happy that I took the time out to do that. And though it was not easy, it was worth it. It was worth the wait. It was worth the pursuing. It was worth the time. It was worth all that I invested in trying to figure out, what my purpose is or why I am here, on this earth. And in saying all of that, I recognized during that period also that a lot of persons, or quite a few persons I knew, who, did not really have a great idea of what purpose is or why they're here. And I still do know some persons who have yet to tap into their purpose or why they are here. And it rests on my heart, and I feel compelled to share some more on what that is all about, because it is a little frightening, I think, to know that we're all here on this earth and we're not really living our lives purposeful, or we're not living a purpose-filled life. Yes, and it's so important for us to understand that and to live that kind of life, because when we would have understood and lived the kind of life that is purpose-filled, God will be well pleased with us, for one, and for two, we will be greatly rewarded for that, for being obedient in doing what He has, created us to do. And in stating that, I want to continue by saying that purpose is very significant. Living a purpose-filled life is very, very, very important. And it's imperative for us to have a sense of purpose. Yeah? And it is also important to know who God created you to be. It's important to know what you were called to do. It's important to know the reason why you are here. And if you are not able to understand, or you have not yet understood who you are created to be, what you are called to do, why you are here, if you have not understood that, you will be like a shadow boxer who beats aimlessly at the air that Paul the apostle talks about in 1 Corinthians chapter 9 verses 26, 27. Yeah, somewhere there. And what that is saying is, in the natural, if we observe a professional boxer, or if we even watch a movie with a boxer, we recognize that they go through periods of training. And while they're going through periods of training before they actually enter the game or in the ring with their opponent, they have to do the training by understanding the different techniques, understanding the direction in which they have to punch. They have to understand or try to figure out if their opponent punches at them this way, how can they counteract those punches, or how can they block the punches from hitting them directly, right? And during those trainings, we'll observe that the boxer is punching at a punching bag, I think that's what they'll call it, or something like that. And when he's punching, it's almost like he's punching at air, because his opponent is not yet before him, because he's not yet in the actual game or in the actual ring to fight his opponent. So therefore, in training, he is punching at something or someone imaginable. Sometimes there's not even a punching bag. Sometimes they'll just be doing something like this. Yeah? So, in other words, that's what Paul is saying. That shadow boxer is like punching air aimlessly, because there's nothing or anyone before him. Yeah? So when we don't have a sense of purpose, we'll be like that. We'll just be beating about in life, not understanding who we are, not understanding what we're about or where we're going, and that kind of stuff. And some of the reasons why we may be or can be considered as a shadow boxer is when we don't have a sense of purpose. Sometimes it is because we are more concerned with the corporate responsibilities. We are more concerned with the positions that we, or the titles that we may be seeking to ascertain in the corporate world, or in our careers. Not having a sense of purpose could be because we're so focused in playing our motherly role, right? Or perhaps our wifely duties. And nothing is wrong with that, with being concerned about our wifely duties or our motherly roles, especially because God gave us those responsibilities or those positions in life for a reason, for a purpose. Yes. And some individuals may even argue that being a wife or being a mother, they believe that is their purpose, right? But the thing about that is too much focus on everything else in life, including we may be confused, we may be lost, we may just be ignorant of the fact of what purpose is all about. We may honestly just not understand how to tap into who God predestined us to be. Yeah? And when we get too caught up in everything else and become lost in everything else, it could cause us to miss the most important function of why we're here or why you're here. And that is to fulfill your God-given purpose. Yes? Some persons may say they are doing everything possible to be everything that they believe God has called them to be. But sometimes the truth is we go after just merely what we're feeling and not necessarily what we are instructed to do or how we are instructed to do it. So we have to be very careful or mindful of those things, right? So in saying that, I would love to shed some light on what purpose looks like. Purpose looks like joy. Like this is what I'm doing, it gives me joy. I'm passionate about this, what I'm doing. Yeah? Purpose may look like feeling accomplished. Purpose may look like being empowered. Purpose may look like being driven. Purpose may look like something that gives you an additional meaning to life. Yeah? And as I mentioned before, some person may believe that being a wife or a mother is what they are called to do. It gives them additional meaning to life, and that is a fact. Having kids, for those who do, it gives an additional meaning to life. But like I said before, we're not to be too caught up and focused in everything else that we miss what or who we're called to be in this earth. And what I mean by that is purpose looks like, what shall I say here? Purpose is not limited to just immediately whom we are attached to. So that's what I'm saying. So though you may feel like you're called to be a mother, that's your purpose and stuff like that, it's not limited to just whom we're immediately attached to. Let me just say that again right there. Right? But it considers those whom you are called to. What do I mean by that? You are called to a nation. You are called to a people that is depending on you to bring them hope. You are called to a people or a nation that is looking to you to show them what hope looks like. I said something real powerful right there. And one of the other things purpose looks like is true success. No, this true success I'm talking about is not the success that is often defined by society as the accolades we have achieved, the titles, the cars, the houses, the monies, and that kind of stuff. Yes, it's good to have all those things, ascertain all those things, but that's not all of what we're about here on this earth, in this life. So the true success that I'm talking about that is attached to purpose, it's talking about the way you positively impact lives, the way you transform lives because of your obedience in answering the call to fulfill your purpose. I said something real good right there. Yeah? And you may say, okay, prove this. What proof do I have of what I'm saying? I'm glad you asked that question. So here's my proof. Jesus, he was a great example of what living a purpose-filled life looks like. Yeah? How do I know that? He was passionate about doing his Father's will. Yes, let me say that again. So purpose looks like something, or may look like something that we're deeply passionate about. Now, we all have different passions. We all have different things that we love, that drives us, that makes us feel enriched, that makes us feel empowered, and that kind of stuff. Yeah? Because we're all gifted differently. So what drives me may not necessarily drive you, and that is absolutely okay. That is something that we have to understand, that we are all uniquely made, and made with some unique gifts and talents and stuff like that, right? Now, Jesus was so passionate about his father, doing his father's will, or the father's will, that when his parents were looking for him, his earthly parents, where they found him was, he was not at home sleeping. He was at the temple. He was doing his father's business, right? He was about his father's business. So at a young age or stage, he understood what purpose meant. Not to say that we all know or figure or understand what our purpose is in our younger days, because like I mentioned, I struggled with that years ago, and I was not a teenager while I was going through that struggle. So it's not to say that it's too late. It's not too late, in other words, is what I'm saying. However, Jesus understood his mission here on earth, that he was more concerned about fulfilling his God-given purpose, or getting to his destiny, that he did not allow himself to become distracted by anything or anyone, not even his earthly parents. So we have to be so deliberate, intentional, and focused in pursuing what God has called us to do, or who God has called us to be here on this earth, right? And in doing that, Jesus lived a fulfilled life. He fulfilled his purpose here on earth by impacting lives, transforming lives, healing individuals, delivering individuals. He was like what we would call a game changer here in the earth. He was someone who cared so much about people. He was not just concerned about his mom and dad, the earthly ones, his earthly parents, right? He was not so caught up with them that he lost sight and focus of what God had given him to do. So we have to learn to do that. We have to learn to not become too distracted with everything else and everyone else, right? And one of the other proofs I have that Jesus is a prime example of what living a purpose-filled life looks like is that after becoming passionate about doing the Father's will and fulfilling his purpose, when it was time for him to depart this earth, he said that it is finished. What does that mean? He did every single thing that God appointed him to do. Yes, he did every single solitary thing. There was nothing that was left undone. He did not leave this earth filled with all that blessing, all that gift, all of the wonderful things that he made use of while he was on earth. In the same we too must use up the gifts and the talents that we have to give God the glory in fulfilling He has called us to be and to do. Now, I want to make it so simple by making a closing statement to say that there's no shame or need to feel guilty if at this moment in your life you have no sense of purpose, but it is for you rather to seek out your why. Seek out your why, that you will not be living this life aimlessly or making the grave richer with the gifts, wisdom, knowledge, and experiences that you have, but seek after the why so that you can impart to others in advancing the welfare of the whole human race, in contributing to a better society and a better nation. Now, that closing statement is so rich that it needs no long explanation, because it's very simple. It's very simple for us to understand what that is, what that means. And when we have a better society, a better nation, it means that each and every one of us will be better off as individuals. And God is amazing in opening my eyes to see with understanding, my ears to hear with understanding, and to open up my heart to receive, but also my spirit man to be in tune, to know that I am here for a great purpose and not just here to just be beating around aimlessly, to just be walking around aimlessly. Yeah? And I'm also grateful that because of individuals who are assigned to me, or persons who have been a part of my life, who has sown good seeds, and my soil was ready, my soil was rich in nourishment, that I nurtured the seeds that were sown, that I'm able to be this individual who has been impacted, that I too may be able to impact the lives of other people. I want to simply ask a few questions. Do you know who you are? Do you know why you're here? Do you know what you are called to do? Do you understand what your characteristics are? I remember a friend said to me, she said those things to me, and I was like, it sounds so simple, but it was so powerful. And what I also learned a few years ago to do was to become one with who God created me to be. Things I didn't know that was within me. Sometimes people are better able to see, what is upon our lives. Because sometimes we're so distracted with everything else that we're not even able to see clearly. Persons would say things to me that is in alignment with where God is calling or was calling me to be. and it resonated, but I still did not fully understand or tapped into it all. But later when I did, I was super happy and grateful for it all. I did a supervisory management course maybe 3-4 years ago, and when I did that course, I was encouraged by someone I call my sister, someone who is more mature than I am, someone whom I respect and look up to, and she encouraged me to do the supervisor management course because it would have matriculated me into the university, because I wanted to apply to the university to pursue a particular degree. And when I did that, when I pursued that course, of course, after pursuing, I was successful. I was successful in doing the course and achieving my certificate. But one of the greatest things that happened for me, was that in doing that course, I learned more about myself. Things that I never knew that was there, that was within me. Yeah? And one of the main things I learned about myself during that course that I was doing was that I learned that I had leadership qualities. I didn't know I had that all these years. And how I knew that was, it was automatic that the group that I was in, I was chosen by my team members to be the head of the group, and I was like shying away from that because I was like, I don't know how to do this. I'm not in my head I was saying that they are more equipped than I am. For one of the reasons I was thinking that they are more equipped than I am is because I was thinking so that they are more equipped than I am because of the companies they worked with or the positions they held, you know, and they all seemed more advanced than I was, I think, in certain areas. So for those reasons I was shying away and like, no, and that kind of stuff. And I love to ask questions, and thank you for those of you who are just joining. Thank you, I see you, thank you. So what I found is that I always ask questions, and I really do ask questions because I like to have full understanding of what it is that I'm engaging in. So for that reason, I love to ask questions. I love to have clarity, because in asking questions, it would cause us to not put ourselves in any predicament by misjudging, misunderstanding, or misinterpreting. It will be less likely for those things to happen when we ask questions, so that we can gain clarity and understanding. So I would do that often in the class. And the truth is, I ask a lot of questions during the class too, because I really did not understand some of the things and just wanted to really understand. And I can remember one of my team members, she would often say, Aura, you ask sir, no, you ask her the question, no, because sir look like him love answer your question. And she would say things like that to me, like, me not special, me just a try to learn and stuff like that. So me like, ask her yourself. So when I'm asking a question for her, I would say, sir, this person, my team member, is asking, X, Y, and Z. And when the time came for us to do our group assignments, I recognize that there are some characteristics or some qualities I had. I started paying attention to them because by nature I recognize that I am someone who I believe I'm a fairly good communicator. I believe that I get things done timely and I'm a committed individual. So if I have something to do, it's not easy for me to find an excuse like that. If I have to get it done, if it means I have to, it's no sleep, whatever it is I have to do, I do. Once I have something to do, I hold myself accountable and responsible for my responsibilities or my duties. I don't find excuses for them. So, I would be doing that to ensure I would check in with them to ensure that they have done their part and stuff like that. And one of the other reasons too was because I would hear horror stories about, when you start going to college or university, when you have to do teamwork, the team members sometimes they can be lazy, they drag their feet, they don't do their work, and it can affect your grade and stuff like that. And that was one of the other reasons why I was on top of things, because I did not want that to affect my grade at the end of the day in a negative way, because I was struggling a lot, and I was now breaking through to be at a better place, to advance and to be more knowledgeable and to be more learned. So I did not want all of those things to hinder or hamper my progress, my elevation, and my advancement. So therefore I would do what is necessary. And at the end, I remember when we were to now make presentations in class, I also be like, oh my God, I don't really like this thing, but they'd push me at the forefront and say, Aura, you go on, you go on, you go on. And they say, Aura, the way you speak, the way you articulate the thing, the way how you explain things, you sound like you understand things. Sometimes they just really didn't even understand that I was really struggling, and the hard work I really had to put in when I am at home to do my work, But nonetheless, I humbled myself and I stood tall at the forefront as their team leader. And we did excellent in all of our team projects. Excellent. And it made me feel really good about myself and about, what God has gifted me with. And years after that, and a friend said to me something about my characteristics, my qualities, and my gifts and stuff like that. I don't remember the full conversation, but I went back and I had to do a rain check, if I'm using the right term here. I had to message these team members. Now, school was done, finished the program, graduated, everything. I couldn't help but message some of these persons and ask them directly, quite frankly and upfront, why did you choose me as your team member or your team leader rather? What was it that you saw that made you choose me? And when they said, Aura, you seem knowledgeable, you communicate well, you're not selfish, it's not just about you look out for the benefit of everybody else and all that stuff. You include everybody and you name it, all the good things that leaders do. Not talking about just somebody who just wants to just be in power and that kind of stuff, right? And when I did that, it made me, I had to take some time and sit with all of those responses and digest them. I had to sit and was like, wow, They saw something in me that I myself did not even see. And sometimes too, we may shy away from what the greatness that is in us, because we may feel like we are inadequate, we may feel like we are not eligible, we may feel like we are not educated enough, intelligent enough. We may just think like we're not equipped enough to do certain things, the things that, God has, predestined us to do or to be. And with all of that said, after doing all of that, collecting all of those responses, digesting them, and listening to some of the other things that persons, even a family member, I remember a niece of mine said something to me about what she believes I should do. She thinks I would do a good job, and that empowered me. And I found that I was hearing the same language from a few other persons. I now recognize that persons were looking to me for certain answers or advice or suggestions or opinions. And I started to say, okay, God, there must be something special that you have gifted me with, while others come to me for those answers, right? And with all that said, as I have already made the closing mark, I just want to state that when other persons may identify, or you find that a number of persons may be speaking the same language, they're identifying just about the same qualities or characteristics within you, it is speaking great volume. That may be an indication to help you to be directed in the right direction to pursuing your purpose. Yeah? So you have to pay keen attention to those things. So those things can be little nuggets, little pointers to help you to understand better who you are and what you're called to be, if you yourself is not able to truly identify with yourself, who you are, what your purpose is, and that kind of a thing, and why you're here. And as soon as you're able to become one with those indicators, as soon as you've learned to tap into the qualities, the characteristics, the things that you are passionate about, the things that you recognize that when you do those things you're passionate about, you recognize that they're positively impacting lives, it is something that is helping you to go to your destiny. So pay close attention to those little things. Pay close attention to people who are speaking life. Pay close attention to people who are speaking greatness over you. Pay close attention to destiny helpers. Destiny helpers, they are so important. I'm feeling this one right here. You can't see it, but I'm getting what we call those goose pimples. Destiny helpers are important people to be connected to. Hear what they're called? Destiny helpers. Destiny helpers. They help to get you to your destiny or your destination. Stay closely marked to those people. Stay closely marked to people who can counsel you into the right direction, the way forward. Because this lady who I call Sis, who advised me to do that course, that program, that supervisor management program years ago, if I had not taken her word of advice and sought to do another program to matriculate to the university or something, I would not have been able to tap into some of what was already locked on the inside of me to help to connect me to my purpose. Yes? So it is so important to pay close attention and to stay connected to destiny helpers. Now, destiny helpers, this is not really what I'm talking about or what I'm closing on, but let me just give you a few things to be able to identify with your destiny helper. And your destiny helper may not necessarily be someone who is gonna be staying with you forever. God could appoint someone for an appointed time or season to come and deliver what they're supposed to deliver to you. And that could be, it could be something financially, it could be something knowledgeable, it could be wisdom, it could be some kind of other resources, it could just be simple, wise and godly counsel. Destiny helpers, they are not necessarily, they can be, let me rephrase, your destiny helper could also look like your spouse. Alright, what do I mean by that? Your spouse, if it is a relationship that God has assigned to you, remember I spoke on covenant relationships in a few podcasts a few weeks ago. When the spouse is assigned to you, God assigned that relationship or that individual to you, or if it's a friendship, they will see to it that the gifts that is innate, the things that is inborn, the things that God had deposited inside of you, they too are able to identify those things sometimes without you even being able to identify them yourself. When that spouse sees those things within you, they will pull them out. What do I mean by pull them out? They will provoke you. What do I mean by provoke you? They may be saying things to you not to irritate you, but because of your used to being in a comfort zone, your comfort zones, when they come and they're pulling, they're provoking, they're drawing on you, and it's irritating you in such a way that you're like, oh my God, can they just leave me alone, just give me a break, I'll figure this out, I'll do this on my own time, on my own terms. The spouse is just not gonna have it, not gonna let you be like that. So that spouse can be a destiny helper. You are there to accomplish what God has placed on the inside of you. They will want to see you aim high. They will want to see you not just live your life for you, but you're living your life to impact other people around you. Yes? You may also be able to identify your destiny helper. It could even be somebody like, what's that called? It could be like your teacher. Yes, the teacher is there teaching, but when you see that teacher takes the time out and accommodates you in such a way so to ensure that you learn and understand what they have taught or they're teaching, and they may even give you additive, and I'm not talking about teachers who are trying to just be improper. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about teachers who are placed in their professional fields and are doing right by the books. Yes? But they do these things to help you so that you can advance in the way you ought to advance. Now, I said I was finished and I closed a long time ago, and I ended up leaving from God's work talking about your purpose, going into your destiny helper, but it's connected anyhow. So I pray today for you, my woman of worth community, that you will learn to tap in, that you will seek after your why, you will seek after your what, you will seek after who God predestined you to be here on this earth, that you will live your life, and that you will live it in such a way that when your time has come to leave this earth, you too can say like Paul, I have run a good race. That you too like Paul will say that, I feel accomplished because I have done the will of God. Yeah, I pray that the destiny helpers whom God has assigned to you, they will not miss you. I pray that they will not miss you. I pray that they will hear your name before they even see you. I pray that your destiny helper, they will not withhold their hand with the good that God has sent them with to bless you. I pray that your destiny helpers, they will communicate with you, they will pull on you, and when they are tugging on the things that are on the inside of you and pulling out the best you, that you will become so uncomfortable to the point that you seek after who God created you to be, and that you will love them, you'll bless them, you'll pray for them too, and that you will share and impart to others what God has given to you, that you will not become selfish and hold on to everything that you have gained, but you will recognize that everything that God has given unto you in this earth is for you to bless someone else with. It's for you to impact their lives. It's for you to help them to reach to the place of healing, transformation, and greatness. I pray that you will learn to be gentle with yourselves, even if you have not yet understood your purpose here on earth, that you will be so gentle with yourself, that you'll be so patient, that you will recognize that all good things come to those who wait. But while you're waiting, have a good posture, that God may see your good attitude, that God may see your humility, that God may see that you truly desire to do good by Him. I love you, but God loves you most. I'll see you tomorrow. For those who are watching live, for those who will be watching or listening on the replay, I pray that when you watch and when you pray, that something that was spoken will tug on your heart. It will tug on your heart, and it will quicken you to move, to make haste to pursue who God has created you to be, that you will not pay attention to everything else and everyone else, but you will tap in to that great woman that you were predestined to be. Shalom. Bye-bye.